Thank you all very, very much for coming to the Kahele Ohana, to Governor Mrs. Ige, Lieutenant Governor Tsui, and Mrs. Ige, to our governors here, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, members of our esteemed judiciary, members of our esteemed legislature, distinguished visitors, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming today to salute a good man. My name is Ed Teixeira. I've known Gil for about 30 years, and like you, he was a good friend of mine. And I was saddened by the news, saddened by his loss. But Gil made something very, very clear to his family, particularly to his son Kai, that most of you have met already. And he said, hey, don't want anyone to be somber, quote unquote. Don't want any mortuary. What I wanted was a celebration of life. It's food, music, fellowship, but above all, pick a place with plenty of parking, quote unquote. So here we are. But you know, that's a tall order, not being somber, not being sad. That's a very, very tall order. So we're going to celebrate his life tonight, and just know that it's first 2 hours of the program is pretty structured, formal, if you will. And starting at about 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, it is time to kani kapila. Okay, kani kapila. That's the way Gil wanted it. All right, now I'm going to walk you through a few things. But I just want to say, given all of our imperfections, now Linda Kahele might not agree with me, but given all of our imperfections, Gil was as perfect as a man you could be. When you look at his achievements and how he started, he was selfless to a fault, but clearly he was a perfect friend that I've called upon many, many times, and he wasn't afraid or reluctant to pick up the phone and call on me, all right? So that all said, we've got a lot to do, a lot to forge. We have many of his associates that are here from Honolulu. I heard Hawaiian Airlines had to add another flight to get you all here, and that's just wonderful. And I think most of you got a flight to catch going back to Honolulu, so we're going to try and keep you all on time. But if I may, I would like to add my mahalo and that of the Kahele Ohana, and for the family and friends, residents of the Big Island, to you, Governor Ige, and members of the legislature, for that wonderful tribute you gave our friend last week before he came home. How about a big round of applause? Thank you very much. Now at this time, would you please rise? Because Hawaii's own, Danny Kaleikini.
Wae pale me kahie makualani kamehameha na kawae pale me kahie himua.
Please remain standing for the ke kanikau.
Hello. this time of ho'mana'o, of remembering a great man, a dear friend, a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather. Truly a keiki o ka'aina, a man of the land, and certainly a kanaka makua, a term that is not given lightly, but is given very sparingly for those that deserve that title. One of great respect, who carries knowledge far beyond his time. We are here to share the mo'olelo this evening of Senator Gil Kahele. As we gather here with his ohana, with extended ohana, and huapili, dear friends who come from near and far, to celebrate his wonderful life. And although we know that perhaps physically he may not be here with us to talk, to share things as he would always, but we know that in spirit he is with us. We thank you for his life and for all that he's done, the great legacy that he leaves behind, as his story will continue. We ask you for a blessing upon his family, upon his home, upon his work, his kuleana, that it may continue, that his name will continue and live on, and always be honored of this great man, this kanaka makua, Gil Kahele. As we now prepare this evening here in Hilo to share of Gil, we know that all the ho'ailona of heaven, from the great winds to the falling rains that refer to the sadness that we have deep within us, have all been apparent on this moku o Keawe. We thank you for Gil's spirit that endures and remains with us. For these things we humbly ask. Makainoa ka makua ki kei ki ka ohane mulele. Amen. Mahalo. I almost left without speaking about the leis that I carry in my hand. You know, for our kupuna, for our ancestors, the lei always remained a symbol of aloha. As one gives a lei to another, they give with them their love. They give with them not only that physical lei, but also they share with that person, that receiver, their spirit when they touch ihu to ihu in the truest sense of aloha. I hold in my hands a maile lei. And in the tradition of the maile represents the piko, where one end of the lei represents Gil Kahele. The other end of the lei represents all his family, all of his friends who remain. I also hold a lei hala. And this, as you may know, is a very special lei, but not a lei that's given anytime. It's a lei that's given at certain occasions. For in the understanding of the word hala, in reference to things of the past, it also refers to moving from one level to the next. And so both leis are open-ended. And I will pass these leis along and allow the leis to circulate. And for you to simply take the leis, to put your aloha in the lei, to smell the lei, perhaps to honi the lei, and then pass it on. But make sure that it circulates through everyone that's here. And at the very end of this program, that the leis would return. And these leis will represent that love, that connection, that piko that you have with Gil. I would like to also ask maybe some of the monitors to also monitor the leis so that it does continue on. So, mahalo. Thank you.
Aloha. I am truly honored to be part of this celebration of life, and I just wanted to thank Linda, Kai, and the rest of the Kahele Ohana for giving me this privilege of being part of today's celebration. I do know that you had many who would be worthy choices to be part of this afternoon's ceremony, and I just wanted to thank you for this privilege. Gilbert Kahele was a man of wisdom, compassion, sincerity, and humility. He was a big man with a gentle voice, and most of all, was full of aloha for everyone. I think Ed Teixeira put it best when he said, "the perfect friend." I could not think of a better description of Senator Gilbert Kahele. Gil was proud to be Hawaiian. He was a small town boy with a big heart and a warm smile for everyone. He was born in a grass shack in a fishing village in Miloli'i in South Kona, where many Hawaiian traditions are still practiced today. He got his start organizing communities during the Hawaiian Renaissance in the 1970s and helped produce The Song of South Kona, a documentary that preserved the history and lifestyle of Miloli'i and the songs that have been passed from generation to generation. Gil was proud to be American. He served in the United States Marine Corps. He devoted 36 years to a civil service career with the federal government, working in Wahiawa and Oahu, before returning to Hawaii Island to work at Pohakuloa training area. In 2011, Gil was appointed to the state senate to represent District 2 on the Big Island, and he made an immediate impact. He was a dedicated public servant who took the time and made the effort to know you and to learn from you. He was best known for his ability to bring people together, and he was a true champion for Hawaii Island. Just a few stories. I still remember in my first session as governor when there was a problem with the Turtle Bay bill, and we were already past the second crossover, so not too many choices. Went to Senator Kahele for his help, and first and foremost, for any of you who knows Gil, absolutely, he was willing to do whatever was necessary to be able to save the bill. And then I still remember when I was a senator and chair of the Ways and Means Committee, and Senator Kahele, newly appointed, came to talk to me about funding for the Hilo Pharmacy School. It was so important to his community, and Gil came in and asked, what is it that we need to do? And we sat and talked through the strategies, talking about who and what he needed to do in order to get funding. I can tell you, and you've all been part of that chaos on closing night as we get to the end of session. That first time, it broke my heart when I saw Senator Kahele, because I told him I failed. We did not get the pharmacy school funding. The remarkable thing about Gil Kahele was that he was in my office bright and early the next morning, and his question wasn't about who's to blame. It really was about what do we need to do to get over that next step. And you know, we worked again that next session, and I was so thankful when we were finally able to fund the pharmacy school, because it meant so much to this community. It really wasn't about Senator Kahele. It really was about service to Hilo and the Hawaiian Island community that he represented. You know, Gil Kahele was a perfect friend, as Ed said. Most importantly, he was a family man. For those of you who served with him, we all know that he enjoyed it the most when he was able to talk about his friends, his family, and his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He talked about what they were doing and why he was so excited about that. I do know that we have lost a great Hawaiian and a great American. And Gil Kahele was truly someone who celebrated both descriptions because he was a great Hawaiian American. Gil will be missed, and his inspirational legacy will live on through each of us, each person that he has touched in his career. More importantly, as a perfect friend, he spent so much time giving and never asking. And I'm so honored and privileged to be able to offer this today. Mahalo and aloha.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear family and friends of State Senator Gilbert Kahele. Aloha o ko. How does one begin to describe an idol, a mentor, a supporter, a leader, a teacher, a timeless community advocate, a positive role model par excellence, a dedicated family man, both a loving husband and father. And for me, like the good Colonel said, he was a great friend. As a former elected official myself, I can personally attest to his diligence to duty, his commitment to his constituents, and his ardor and zeal in communicating with his colleagues. These attitudes and his positive personality have helped to attain the respect and admiration of his fellow state senators and enabled him to accomplish so much in his political life for the good folks on this island of Hawaii. Gil and I became friends in the late 1970s when he joined my senatorial campaign for one of the 3 Senate seats in Hawaii County. You may recall, after the Constitutional Convention in 1978, there was a change in election rules that required state senators who had 4-year terms to be voted on biannually, so that half the Senate body would be voted on every 2 years, similar to members of the State House of Representatives who served 2-year terms. Further, the Big Island of Hawaii had 3 senators, all running for at-large seats island-wide. I was fortunate to have been elected to one of those 3 seats, and again 2 years later. A belated mahalo anui loa. Gil was a keikiokaina o Hawaii, born in Miloli'i, and helped my campaign by advising me regarding the needs of South Kona areas, more specifically Miloli'i and Pohakuloa, where he worked, including the Saddle Road areas, and with other helpful tidbits of politically savvy information from time to time. We spent long hours strategizing, and every so often, Gil, as he was known best, would mention that he was desirous of being a politician one day. Actually, he never said politician. He said, I want to be a leader, and I want to be elected to office. And we all supported that intent, and he did realize his dream. One of the initial projects Gil was an ardent advocate for was in his own hometown area of Miloli'i and Ho'opuloa. He had a great ally and friend named Robert Yanabu, an engineer in the County Department of Public Works, who gathered key data for us. Gil was the lead advocate for correcting a long unresolved problem, and that was the displacement of many families whose homes were decimated by the lava flow that occurred from Mauna Loa and completely destroyed the Hawaiian fishing village of Ho'opuloa, Mauka of Miloli'i, in 1926. Many of the people then displaced then made their homes in Miloli'i or wherever without ownership or subsequent permission. So we went to work and collectively produced, in quotes, the Miloli'i Ho'opuloa Residential Subdivision, which was created pursuant to Act 62 of 1982 and amended Act 83 of 1984. These acts, which Gil was inspirational toward resolving and bringing to a law, authorized the State Department of Land and Natural Resources, otherwise known as DLNR, to negotiate and offer long-term leases to those residing in Miloli'i and Ho'opuloa who were dispossessed or displaced as a result of the 1926 volcanic eruption of Mauna Loa on the island of Hawaii. That means from 1926 to 1984, 58 years had passed without any government resolution of that situation. And Gil was the leader that made that happen. Mahalo, Gil. Thereafter, from time to time, I would visit Gil at his job site in Po'akaloa, halfway up the Saddle Road. And Po'akaloa Training Area is also known as PTA for short. Both Army and Marine units trained at PTA. The airfield known as Bradshaw Field, with only a few feet of runway, some 4,000 feet, actually landed flying boxcars and other aircraft to bring supplies and assist in training as necessary. As a former Marine himself, Gil was the maintenance supervisor for over 30 years of the extensive support and housing facilities, finally retiring as the maintenance superintendent. Colonel Edward Teixeira, our Master of Ceremonies, this evening was the PTA commanding officer for a long period of time as well. Both Gil and I, and the Colonel too I know, saw the need for major saddle road improvements. What was frustrating at that time was the reluctance of the state transportation officials to take over the saddle road that actually united or connected both East and West Hawaii. Because it was a county roadway, it received only nominal amounts of state dollars for repairs and maintenance to be matched by federal dollars. And the county, unfortunately, at that time had virtually no funds to improve the road at that time. Later on, as the former mayor of Hawaii County, I had the pleasure of appointing Gilbert Kahele as one of several community stalwarts to the Hawaii County Police Commission, wherein he did a fine job. Indeed, so fine that he also served as its chairman from 1988 through 1992. Gil Kahele served in the Senate since 2001, when he was appointed by then Governor Neil Abercrombie for the 2nd District, which encompassed districts of Hilo, Puna, and Ka'u. This area, as all of you on the Big Island know, physically covers half the island with approximately 2/3 the population. And in 2012, Gil was elected to represent the district of Hilo, now known as the 1st Senatorial District, in accordance with the 2010 reapportionment plan. Senator Kahele, in his Senate tenure, was assigned to numerous Senate committees, all of which gave him the opportunity to be an active proponent for strengthening Hilo's economy by creating business and job opportunities. Gil was a strong supporter of the University of Hawaii Hilo College of Pharmacy, named after Daniel Kenoi, and which recently graduated its first class. Right on. Further, among other activities, Gil helped champion the creation of a world-class school of aviation at the underutilized Hilo Airport by convincing the governor to release the funding required. Many labor organizations have supported Gil's campaign due to his adherence to the Democratic Party's principles relating to labor, such as pay equity and equal opportunity for all, regardless of race, color, creed, gender, national or ethnic origin, ancestry, or sexual orientation. His recent visit to Iwo Jima, again, is an indicator of his compassion for his fellow man. He presented me with a small flask, which I'm holding in my hand, of the sands of Iwo Jima, and the site of one of World War II's most epic battlegrounds with heavy losses of life on both sides, blood spilled by the gallons on the sands of Iwo Jima. And he asked me to understand its significance, and I certainly do. And those of us here who have seen men at war, have seen the pictures at the very least, know that we had sacrificed many American lives in that location. Indeed, I am honored to have received one of his treasures of respect for the Battle of Iwo Jima from February 19th to March 26th in 1945. State Senator Gilbert Kahele has been a role model for all the citizens of Hawaii, and he's made an indelible contribution by serving unselfishly in numerous capacities in the delivery of much needed and appreciated services to its citizens over the years. Senator Kahele's leadership in the Democratic Party, industrious work in the professional fields, as a local champion for unresolved state actions regarding natural disasters, service to his country, and as a community advocate for numerous activities is virtually immeasurable. Truly, Senator Gilbert Kahele was a public servant extraordinaire. Indeed, State Senator Gilbert Kahele has served his state and island county communities well. And the people of Hawaii Loa extend its deepest mahalo to the legacy of Senator Gilbert Kahele through his wife Linda, his children, and all the members of the Kahele Ohana. Me ka mahalo. Me ke aloha pumehana. Aloha.
Aloha. Just a few days ago, I had the privilege of speaking about Gil Kahele and his life of service on the floor of the United States House of Representatives, to share the story of his life and have it placed in history within the official congressional record. As I walked off the floor that morning, I was asked by some of my colleagues who were there, what made this man so special? I told them of his humble beginnings in Miloli'i, of his service to our country as a U.S. Marine, and his advocacy, his commitment to this community, and the values that he so passionately dedicated his life to defending. To sum it up, Gil was a servant leader. From the time he was a young man and throughout his life, he was selfless. He worked tirelessly for others. He was humble, down to earth, strong, boldly taking courageous stands, bringing voice to the voiceless, to the poor, to the needy, and to those facing injustice. But whatever he did with a heart full of aloha. The first time I met Gil was while I was here in Hilo, campaigning for Congress in 2012. It was my first campaign. Also happened to be his first re-election campaign. And at that time, it meant so much to me that he welcomed me with open arms, shared warm and kind and encouraging words at a time when I was 50% down in the polls, some tough days. But I was blown away by this sea of blue shirts being worn by his friends, his family, his supporters, hundreds of people who turned out for him to wave signs, to come to rallies, to go house to house, to get people to vote. And what was incredible and very telling about Gil was not only the numbers of people who came out to support him, but it was in the fact that he didn't really have a serious challenger in that race. But it was important to him not to take a single person for granted, to earn their support, to earn their trust. I always looked forward to seeing Gil, whether it was in Hawaii or in Washington, because he made you feel like family. No matter what the topic we discussed, no matter the situation, he was always looking out for what was best for the people of Hawaii Island and our state. Even after his passing, it is that Aloha spirit that Gil embodied that will live on in each of us, and that will continue to bring that same warmth to our hearts. I'd like to share a verse from a scripture that I draw inspiration from daily, called the Bhagavad Gita, and a verse in particular that gave me strength during times of difficulty and loss, in particular during my first deployment to Iraq. This was a verse that I often turned to for shelter, solace, and inspiration. Chapter 2, verse 20. For the soul, there is never birth nor death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So the man we all knew and loved is not gone. Though we celebrate his life and lay his body to rest, his soul lives on. His memory lives on. And the positive impact that he made on countless lives lives on. To Linda and the Kahele Ohana, thank you very much for allowing us to share in this celebration with your family. Thank you for sharing your husband and your father with all of us and supporting him so that he could serve and support others. Mahalo nui loa. Aloha.
At this time, I'd like to call up Malia Paul. She's the Deputy Chief of Staff for Senator Brian Schatz. He's also going to make a presentation.
Aloha. On behalf of Senator Brian Schatz, it is my honor to present to Senator Kahele's family this American flag, which flew over our nation's capital, and a copy of the remarks Senator Schatz delivered last week on the Senate floor. Those remarks highlighted Senator Kahele's commitment to public service and his aloha and heart for family, community, and Hawaii. This flag was flown high in Senator Kahele's honor and memory, and now it is here, home on the Big Island. Mahalo nui loa, Senator Kahele. You will always be in our hearts.
It is my pleasure now to introduce a man that Gil dearly, dearly loved. And I kind of grew to like him a lot. So Gil loves this next speaker, loved this man a lot, talked about him to me, and all the potential that he has. And I've counted on him, grown to like him, almost love him. And again, we've seen a lot of crisis, particularly on his watch. Let's count them. Tsunami, hurricane, lava flows, coqui frogs, sulfur dioxide or VOG, and mosquitoes. Ladies and gentlemen, just kidding around. Please welcome Mayor Billy Kenoi.
To Auntie Linda, to Gibby and Kai, to Noi, Ilima, Ihilani, Imaika, Naoramo Opuna, of Uncle Gil, our state senator, Gilbert Kahele. You know, everybody has so poetically and eloquently captured his life. I'm humbly here on behalf of the administration of the County of Hawaii and all of our department heads, to all of our hardworking and distinguished council members. Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Governor Wahee, to see our Chief Justice, to see all of our distinguished state senators, state representatives, my good friend from the beautiful Garden Isle of Kauai. We'd always talk about being separated by oceans, but being connected through family and friends. So throughout Hawaii, we always work together. You know, we all know about Uncle Gil's distinguished career, but we also know about his love, his aloha. I was thinking about Uncle Gil and what separated him from everybody else. Because all the leaders love their community. All the leaders work hard to get elected and to serve. But Uncle Gil had a gentle persuasion. Somebody told me when we was laughing and talking about Uncle, Auntie, they said Uncle Gil, in his passionate advocacy to serve his community, never was strong or disrespectful. He would kind of just suggest a direction or scratch his head and talk about one beautiful idea that would be wonderful for our families. And next thing you know, everybody just kind of moved in that direction. And people did that with Uncle Gil because he embodied the best of who we are in Hawaii. You've heard it, humble, ha'aha'a, you know, a loving husband, a wonderful, giving, loving father. And to us, you know, and to a great papa, you know, and to us, a great uncle. And I met Uncle Gil when I was a small kid at Itsu's eating ice shave one time. And he came up and went aloha with my father. And I remember asking my dad, "Hey, Dad, who that?" "Oh, it's Gilbert Kahele, Dad." He said, "Oh, smart man, good man. Real, it's the guy you like know if you get into politics." And okay, I can loosen this up, tell a couple quick stories. Because it's for Uncle Gil, right? And if Uncle Gil was your supporter, you better make sure you was working hard. Because Uncle Gil come from the old school, you know. Hey, if you work hard, you win. You don't work hard, you lose. So he would always be there to help, would always be there to encourage. And he would tell me the first time I ran for office, he would always stop by the headquarters. And he would tell me, "You got to work hard. Miluli, ka'u, nalehu, pa'ala." I'll tell, "How come, Uncle?" Because I walk in all the restaurant stores, go, "Anybody seen Billy Kenoi?" And people go, "Who? Who that?" "Yeah, you got to work down there some more." But that was Uncle Gil's informal polling method. That he would go into restaurants, true story. Bro. He would tell me later, "Hey, you're doing good, but you get in there, your name recognition, I think you get chance." I said, "How come, Uncle? How come I get chance? I'm going to ask for you. Hey, they know who you are now. They're not sure. I think maybe the banner in your face or something." But Uncle Gil would always come to the office every week. And he would never make an appointment. He would never tell somebody, "I got to see me." And people would just say, "Oh, Uncle Gil, stay outside." And for all the wonderful projects that he's advocated for that has transformed the quality of life on Hawaii Island. When we talk about the College of Pharmacy, the only college of pharmacy in the Pacific at the University of Hawaii at Hilo that creates this center of academic excellence on Hawaii Island. To be an advocate for aviation and create a new school, new educational opportunities for our children so they grow up with hope. They believe tomorrow is going to be better than today. I want to say mahalo to Uncle Gil for Manakea. For all of us who use Hawaii Island, Mokupuni o Keawe. Big island, but small community. We all work together. And this park that we've talked about for years, and Uncle worked for 18 years, I think, at PTA. And he always talked about improving that park. I said, "Uncle, that's a state park, though. You can help give them to the county, and we're going to make them beautiful." And Uncle Gil worked tirelessly, went to the governor, and without his leadership, without his help, we would never have been able to work together and create this beautiful pu'uhonua in the middle of the island. And all he asked, I said, hey, Uncle, we signed the paper. We're going up, create new bathrooms, new parking lots, new everything. Anything we can do, Uncle. He goes, yeah, Billy, one thing. Get these 2 flag poles that no more flags on them. He said, maybe the first day you get them, you can fly the Hawaiian flag and the flag of our great state. And I said, shoot, Uncle. And the first thing he did was go up, snap one picture, and said, right on. And to the Banyan Drive was his next commitment to helping improve our community. So in his memory, I look forward to working with our county council and honoring Uncle Gil for his contributions to our community and to keep his vision alive, the projects that he still prioritizes, to make sure that it's our kuleana now and responsibility to walk it through and see it through and honor the memory of not just a great leader, but a good man, a kind man, a humble man, a giving man. God bless you, Uncle Gil. God bless you, Auntie Linda. And to all of the Kahele Ohana, take care, God bless, and aloha.
A man who has given 40 years of his life to the people of Hawaii and to this great nation.
Thank you very much, Ed. Very kind words. Aloha, everybody. All right. Now I see all of you glancing down at your programs, and you're saying, thank goodness this is the last speaker before we get to the rest of it. And I see some smiles beginning right here because of the full story of Gil in some respects has been told. But I think that all of us that are here today are here because of the love and affection, because of the big heart of this great Hawaiian. This has been a situation in which references have been made to the Renaissance of Hawaiians. When Hina gave this lamentation, because this great Hawaiian has left us in body, tears came to my eyes, and I know they came to yours as well. But we know that this smiling vision behind us represents the heart and soul of Gilbert Kahele, who wants all of us to feel the joy that he felt. Not only of carrying on the Kahele tradition of Hawaiians here in paradise, but as exemplifying what that Renaissance meant in terms of understanding the values that we have and a message that is taken to the world. Gilbert Kahele was more than just a good man, more than just a great Hawaiian. And so we're here today to celebrate the life of this great Hawaiian. And all of us are here to celebrate the joy that we felt to be in his company. And so we're with his spirit here today. Can we all agree that yes, Gilbert may not be with us physically, but his spirit and the joy that he had in life is with us? And I thought to myself, listening to Tulsi talking about the references that she makes to the great works that have been given to us, the universal values that are there throughout the world, the diversity that's represented, not just in this room, but throughout our island paradise. And I thought of one of my mentors, the Trappist monk and philosopher Thomas Merton, who wrote a poem that when I heard that Gilbert had left us, I went to my library and picked up my Merton reader and went right to the poem he wrote called Landfall. All of us here in paradise have come from somewhere else on the planet. When these islands were thrust up out of the volcanic fury in the middle of the Pacific, thousands of miles from any other landmass on the planet Earth, the people who came from all over the world, led by our Polynesian ancestors, brought with them the most basic values of our humanity. They saw a landfall that was their hope and their opportunity to create a life for themselves and their families and the families to come. And so that poem inspired me to share Merton's words, because I think they represent Gilbert Kahele and his heart and soul. We are beyond the ways of the far ships here in this coral port, farther than the ways of the flyers, because our destinies have transported us beyond the brim of the world. O mariner, what is the name of this uncharted land? On these clean shores shall stand what sinless voyager? What angel's breath in the music of this atmosphere? The flowering palms charm all with their supernal scent. The oleander and the wild hibiscus paint the land with unknown blooms. And the deep ferns sing, "Go up, go up. This is the door of heaven." Climb the safe mountain. Disarm your labored flesh and taste the treasure of these silences in the high coral hermitage of these islands. Take down the flagons of the blue and crimson fruits and reap the everlasting crop that no man's hand has sown, and strike the rock that runs with waters strong as wine to fill you with their fortitude. Because this island is your might, your fort, your paradise. And lo, time's gray and smoky story will never anchor in this emerald harbor, or spoil the fair music of the silver sea. Nor comes there any serpent near this isle, trenched in deep ocean, walled with innocent and flowering vines. But beyond the cotton clouds, between those lovely white cathedrals full of sun, the angels study beauty with their steps, while from the ocean's jeweled floor, the long-lost diver is rising again. I had the privilege of going to Miloli'i and staying with Gilbert at Miloli'i. Not the last Hawaiian fishing village, but the first reminder to all of us of the fundamental values that the Hawaiians have bequested to all of us today. How contemporary, how immediate, how powerful Miloli'i was and is. And it was the motivating force in Gilbert's life to take that simple, direct understanding of where Hawaii is in nature's world and our world, and transpose it and translate it for us today. And I thought, if there was anything that said Gilbert Kahele to all of us, it was love. Now I know the word love is used so transparently in so many situations that perhaps sometimes its meaning is lost to us. But in ritual circumstances such as we're participating in today, if we have the opportunity to renew our understanding and our faith in the world love. So I'm going to ask that we all join our hearts. Our hearts that come out of something which transcends our traditions and comes out of the immediacy of love. Merton says we have to part in a little while, aware of the love that unites us, the love that unites us in spite of real differences, beside emotional fictions. The things that are on the surface are nothing. What is deep is the spirit of Gilbert. We are creatures of love. So let's join our hearts and try to say something that comes out of the depth of our hearts as we leave here today. I ask you to concentrate on the love that is in you, that is in all of us. Gilbert has taught us that if we are open to one another, his Spirit will dwell in us. Help to preserve this openness and to fight for it with all our hearts. Help us to realize there can be no understanding where there is mutual rejection. Accepting one another wholeheartedly, fully, completely. Let's accept one another and thank Gilbert for giving us his Spirit. His Spirit can be rooted in our spirit as we leave tonight. Let us be bound together with love as we go our diverse ways, united in this one Spirit which makes Gilbert present, made him present in the world, and which makes us witness the ultimate reality that is love. Love is overcome. Love is victorious. Shakespeare said, "We are the stuff that dreams are made of, and in our lives are rounded with a little sleep." Gilbert Kahele now goes to sleep. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels see you to your rest.